Welcome to the latest edition of Connecting is Not Enough, the networking radio show. I'm Andy Lopata and I am loving this weather. The sun is shining, and one thing we know when the weather's like this is that holiday season is on its way. And as well as giving us a good chance and well-earned chance to recharge our batteries, holiday season, if business gets quieter, also gives us a chance to take a step back, look at how our business is going, review our networking activity and touch base with people that we don't see often enough. One thing you can do if work is quieter in the coming weeks is look at how you use social networks like LinkedIn and like Twitter. With that in mind, I've put together a LinkedIn special for you today. I'll share 5 ways for you to sharpen your LinkedIn profile. I'll discuss how you decide with whom you want to connect on LinkedIn. And I also share an interview that I did with Mr. LinkedIn, Mark Williams. I finished with some thoughts on how to create your personal brand, something that you need to understand if you're going to use any social network effectively. I hope that you find this helpful. Let me know what you're going to do differently on LinkedIn as a result and how you get on. If you want me to review your LinkedIn profile and just give you a few quick thoughts, send me a link and I'm more than happy to do it for you. Before we get on to LinkedIn, just something I want to share with you. I've been forwarded an excellent ebook on making 60-second presentations at networking events in the real world by Simon Raybould. In the ebook, Simon offers some excellent techniques to help you prepare and structure your message, as well as some very original approaches to delivering effectively. He also shares some thoughts designed to make delivering such presentations easier for the less outgoing among us. You can download a free copy of the ebook by going to curved-vision.co.uk/nanonetworking.pdf. And it's Nano Networking, How to Succeed in 60-Second Pitches. I hope you enjoy it. A reminder again of a couple of events at which I'm speaking and which are open to the public. The first one's on August the 29th, and it will be in what I hope will be a very sunny Stockholm at the Arts Network Conference. And then between November the 26th and 28th, I'll be speaking at the Digital Marketing Show at Excel in London. Now, links to each event are available in Connecting is Not Enough, the e-zine, which you can access on my website at lopata.co.uk. I spent a lovely afternoon filming a few tips for the Digital Marketing Show in Barbican Centre in London earlier this week, and look out for those over the coming days. I hope that you enjoy the networking radio show this week, and I do look forward to your feedback and your progress on LinkedIn. If you're serious about developing a networking and referral strategy that can take your business to a new level, or if you're interested in booking me for a speech or training session for your team, find out more details on our website at lopata.co.uk, or you can contact me at andy@lopata.co.uk. And of course that's spelt Lopata. On to LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is an essential part of any professional's toolbox these days. Yet so many people fail to make an impact by posting a strong profile. If you look at your profile on LinkedIn and feel uninspired, how much do you think other people will want to meet you? Here are 5 ways you can sharpen that profile and attract the right types of business contacts. Number 1, a welcoming smile. When people land on your LinkedIn profile, what's the first thing that greets them? Is it a cold, humorless passport photo that's seen all of your character drained from the image? Perhaps it's a holiday snap in front of the pyramids, a picture of you with your family or on a recent stag night. Or do you have an image of you in better days when you had more hair and maybe fewer chins? Forget your vanity. LinkedIn is a professional network, and your photo is a key part of the professional image that you want to convey. It should be professional, yet warm, recognisable and up to date. You should aim for a full head and shoulders shot, and unlike passport pictures, you are allowed to smile. 2. Making headlines. What used to be tagged as job title in the LinkedIn profile is now known as professional headline. This is the one-liner underneath your name. Following the crowd by posting your company name and job title could be a waste of time. In most cases, it's featured underneath as your current occupation. Unless you've got a job title or employer who will attract the right people to you immediately, play with something different. Tell people what you do for them or for their network rather than what you do for your employer. Look at how other people use their professional headline, both those in your industry as well as other people you respect. Which ones appeal to you and which ones stand out from the crowd? 3. Tell me more about yourself. At the top of the best LinkedIn profiles, before the user's CV, you'll find a summary. Many people miss this, but it's your chance to talk to the person viewing your profile. Write this in the first person as if you're having a conversation. Don't make it too formal, you're trying to engage with the reader. Tell them about your role and your previous positions, but also share why you do what you do and what makes you passionate about it. Also share a little bit of your personal life to give your network a sense of the individual rather than just the job title. 4. In other people's words. Whatever you say about yourself, having strong testimonials from third parties can carry much more weight. And I'm talking about testimonials here, not LinkedIn endorsements where people have just clicked a button to endorse you for a subject you may not even specialise in. Aim to have at least 6 or 7 different testimonials from people who have a story to tell. Most people won't pay much attention to testimonials from work colleagues, people who you've given a testimonial to in return, or from people just saying how nice you are to work with. Who have you worked with, or for whom have you worked, who can share real value of what you offered? Think about what a future client or employer would want to read and request testimonials from people who can share that impression of you. 5. Demonstrate your expertise. You can position yourself as an expert in your area of work using your LinkedIn profile. There are a range of apps such as SlideShare, blog links, or publications to allow you to automatically post links to your external work to your profile. Determine what you want people to say about you having read your LinkedIn profile, and then use apps to share presentations, articles, blogs, and books to your network. You can also share other blogs, videos, and articles of interest by updating the status on your homepage on a regular basis. So that's 5 ways to sharpen your profile on LinkedIn. 1. A welcoming smile. 2. Making headlines. 3. Tell me about yourself. 4. In other people's words. 5. Demonstrate your expertise. When I spoke to the Federation of Small Businesses conference last year, I talked about the importance of using LinkedIn to generate referrals. In a clip from that talk, I discussed building your network on LinkedIn and how to decide your criteria for who you wish to connect to.
We've got that right. We then go on to step 2. And with step 2, we need to start thinking about, well, if I want referrals, where are they going to come from? So we need to build our network. Now, I'm going to show you some statistics from LinkedIn on the scale of reach of a network in a moment. I should emphasize at this point that this isn't the size of network I'm suggesting for you. It's simply just an example of how the network operates. It's a huge exponential growth in contacts. So here's a network with 1,000 contacts in. Now, I would say a good-sized network on LinkedIn, depending on what you do and depending on how strong your network is, would be 60 to 250 people. But here's a network with 1,000. With 1,000 contacts, you've got over 250,000 second-degree connections. You've got the potential to reach over 250,000 people through people you are connected to on LinkedIn. And you've then got over 8 million third-degree contacts. So that's the people who know the people who know you. And that's how LinkedIn works. It goes to the first 3 degrees of separation. Now that's huge reach. That's huge opportunity. Start thinking about the people you want to contact, whether it's for sales, whether it's for anything else. The people you want to engage with. If they're on LinkedIn and you have a strong enough network, the chances are you can reach them. The chances are you can get an introduction to them. Now, I said effectively take that with a pinch of salt because it depends who you connect to. And I think you have to have very clear criteria about why you connect to people and which connections you accept. I'm speaking today about using LinkedIn as a referral tool and a referral tool only. If you solely use LinkedIn for referrals, I think the criteria are quite clear and quite simple. You only connect to people that you would happily refer or people who would happily refer you, or ideally both, because it should be a two-way process. If that's the only way you're using LinkedIn, those are the criteria. Now, I mentioned at the beginning there are other ways you can use LinkedIn, so this is actually my network. And for me, you know, I speak at a lot of events, I meet a lot of people briefly, and they want to connect on LinkedIn. So for me, it's a way of staying engaged. If I get a request from someone who's in a key industry that I want to learn more about or that I work in, I'll connect. It's a way to stay engaged. So I'm using it for other reasons. Work out what your reasons are. And when I run LinkedIn courses, what I always suggest is write down for yourself the 3 reasons why you will accept connection requests, so the 3 criteria those people have to have. So it may well be you're happy to refer them. It may be that you've got a number of mutual contacts in common and that gives you associated trust. It may well be that you've met in person and had a conversation. A lot of people use that as a criteria. So that's the ones you accept, and then the 3 criteria for the ones that you will ask for connections to. So who will you approach? So that's my approach, but I think that there should be some sort of connection between people before you actually connect on LinkedIn. That's my opinion. Not everyone's the same. Do we have any lions in the room? We've got 1 lion. So a lion is, for those of you who don't know, is a LinkedIn open networker. So what that means is the gentleman who's put his hand up, if you send him a connection request, if I get this right, you will accept that happily because you'll connect to anyone. That's the approach. And based on these figures, that gives you tremendous reach. And Lions, LinkedIn Open Networkers, have a very strong business argument for why they do it. It doesn't work for my approach because my approach is built on relationships. And I believe that you need to have not just breadth of contacts, but a depth of contacts as well. You need to have relationships. You need to know those people if you're asking for referrals. And that's why I say these figures should be taken with a pinch of salt, because if I have LinkedIn Open Networkers in my first degree connections, then they're going to know a lot more people, will be connected to a lot more people than they know. So that will dilute the power of the referral. So just be aware of that, but the potential is still very high.
I recently caught up with LinkedIn expert Mark Williams to ask for his top tips on using the site.
I've been joined by Mark Williams, known as Mr. LinkedIn, who trains on LinkedIn both across the UK and internationally. Mark, I had someone today at one of my sessions say that she hadn't even heard of LinkedIn until a few months ago. So for the uninitiated, and bearing in mind there are people watching this not just from the UK, what's LinkedIn?
Well, it's the world's largest online business network, somewhere in the region of about 235 million users. And people use LinkedIn for a whole variety of different purposes. It's basically networking online, though. So people are going online, engaging with other professionals, either in groups or by connecting with them. And it's just a great way to find out more information about people and also talk to other people in business.
So if you're talking to clients, LinkedIn, one of the biggest objections I get to using it is the time involved. Before I ask you about how to get around that, let me ask you why. Why should people use it? What are the biggest benefits of using LinkedIn?
Well, you're going to get a chance to engage with people that would be very difficult to meet and often hard to break down those barriers to get in front of them. And, I think if people think about it, yes, these things take time, for sure they do. And but look at it this way: if someone gave you the opportunity to have a conversation with a potential client, a potential customer, would you say, "Well, that's going to take too long, sorry, I can't do it"? But the reality is that you've got all these people on LinkedIn and this opportunity to actually reach out and engage with them. So surely it's got to be worth the time.
Okay, so with that in mind, you've worked with a lot of people that have used LinkedIn in different ways in the past. What are the most common mistakes that you come across?
Well, a lot of people sign up, and sometimes they often sign up when their first experience of LinkedIn is because they're looking for a job, which it can be used in that context. So they sign up and they create a profile that reads a bit like a CV and kind of bigs them up and sells them and talks about their strengths and their achievements. And then they get a job and then they leave it and nothing else happens. And of course that is a bit like going to a networking event and sitting in the corner and eating the vol au vents and not speaking to anyone else. So that's a big mistake that people make, is lack of activity, really.
Okay, and your top 3 tips for anyone new to LinkedIn, or even someone who's been on it for a while but feels, well, I'm not really making the most of this.
Okay, I think probably tip number one, I'd always start with a profile. Understand that people want to know about you, and that's a good thing. Bit of a mentality that it's the way you think about it. People often think about privacy with regards to things like Facebook, and I totally get that, but with LinkedIn, you're only putting information that you want people to see, and it's all about you in a professional context, so why wouldn't you want them to see it? So you want to put information in there, a really good profile, rich with information about you. The more your potential clients and customers see about you, the better, really. So that would be my first point. Second one relates to the point I mentioned earlier about activity. Get active, but don't spend hours on it. You know, if you say, I'm going to spend an hour a day, the reality is you'll probably be disappointed. All you need to do is start interacting and engaging with people. And that can just be a few seconds here, a few minutes there. Small little bursts of activity, but on a regular basis, and you'll get a lot more from it that way as well.
And actually, supplementary question, because something you said there just sparked a thought in my mind. I meet a lot of people who say, I don't connect with my clients because I don't want to share their information with my network, and I don't want to connect with my colleagues at work for whatever reason. What's your take on those two attitudes?
Yeah, I mean, building a network is pretty important on LinkedIn. The more people that you connect with that are relevant, and I'm not suggesting people should just connect with anyone, the more people you connect with that are relevant and potentially interested, and colleagues would be included in that, and certainly customers would be included in that, the more chance you've got of this thing working for you. You know, opportunities happen in business because of weak ties. We don't necessarily know all that well, but people that we occasionally come across, we log that information about them, and then we maybe can introduce them to someone else, and obviously vice versa. That's how business works. So obviously, if you get out there and start connecting to people, then when you connect to someone, their first tier connections become visible to you and you to them, and that creates opportunity. So connecting with people is what it's all about. Not anybody and everybody. I once received an invite from a taxi driver in Kuala Lumpur, and at the time I thought, well, why on earth would I connect to that person?
You never know.
You never know. Very true. I don't think I did at the time, and I'm not necessarily suggesting you go out and find people like that. But if a taxi driver in Kuala Lumpur is out there trying to network and get to know people, then who else is he getting to know? And they might be of interest to you, so you never know.
Brilliant. Mark, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
How much time do you spend on managing your personal brand? What others think and say about you is vital to anyone's success in business or in their career. It's not simply about whether people speak positively about you or otherwise. It's the context in which they speak about you and your strengths. If I look back through the last few years of my business, I can easily identify the one key ingredient without which I couldn't have succeeded. So many opportunities have come my way when I didn't even know they existed. In my absence, 2 or more people had come together, decided that they needed help with networking or with referral generation, or they needed a speaker on that subject, and someone mentioned my name. I was deemed to be the right fit for the opportunity. Going further back, most of the jobs in my early career came through word of mouth, often people recommending me and then inviting me to apply for a vacancy. Yet despite the importance of these conversations, very few people I meet at my talks and workshops seem to devote much time to working out what they want that message to be and taking responsibility for shaping it. People increasingly recognise the importance of building a strong network. The growth of LinkedIn demonstrates that. Still, they don't pay enough attention to educating that network, helping the people to whom they're connected understand what they do and who they do it for. Step 1 is to understand what the message should be. What do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? And who do you want them to say it to? When I ask that question in my talks and workshops, the most common responses are professional, reliable, good at my job. Such responses fail to make much of an impact. Yes, it's important that people perceive you have those qualities, but on their own they mean little. People first need to know why they should care. In what way are you relevant to them? Get inside the mind of your potential client or employer and ask yourself what it is about you that could have a positive impact on their role or on their lives. One that will resonate with them. The question you need to be answering is why rather than what. Last week I spoke at a conference for public sector accountants. The speaker before me, John Harrison, shared Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. Introducing his Golden Circle at a TEDx talk, Sinek explained, every single person on the planet knows what they do. Some know how they do it, but very few people or organisations know why they do what they do. Sinek went on, by why I don't mean profit. By why I mean what's your purpose, your cause, your belief? Why do you get out of bed in the morning, and why should anyone care? The way we communicate is from the outside in. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and inspired organisations, regardless of their size or industry, all think, act and communicate from the inside out. Sinek talks about organisations or leaders beginning their communication with why they do something, using Apple as his first example. Apple, he says, don't say we build great computers, buy one. Instead they say we believe in challenging the status quo and thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use and user-friendly. The key point, says Sinek, is that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. People will buy from others who share their belief systems. They will employ people who think the same way as them. Shared values and beliefs are a key factor in creating the right opportunities for people to work together or for each other. But it's not just shared values and beliefs that count. People don't just buy what you do or why you do it. People buy why it makes a difference to them. As the title of Sinek's book says, start with why. But I believe that it is far more important that the why in question should be that of your target audience, not, as Sinek suggests, just yours. During his talk, Sinek shares the reasons behind the commercial failure of the digital recording company TiVo. Despite being best in market, he explains that TiVo has never been a commercial success because their message didn't appeal to potential early adopters. He says, when TiVo launched their product, they told us all what they had. They said, we have a product that pauses live TV, skips commercials, rewinds live TV, and memorises your viewing habits without you even asking. And the cynical majority said, we don't believe you, we don't need it, we don't like it, you're scaring us. Sinek asks, what if TiVo had said, if you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. When working out what your message should be, start with your why and use that to identify who you want to hear that message. Who will share the same beliefs? In whose life or whose role will those beliefs best resonate? Why should they want to talk to you, buy from you, or hire you? Once you understand this, make sure everything you do and everything you say is consistent with this message. Be authentic in every action you take. If you understand why you do what you do and why that is relevant to your target audience, it will become much easier to craft and communicate the message that fits, and your name will come up in conversations when the fit is just right. Thanks for listening to the Networking Radio Show. We're going to take a break now for the summer, but I'll be back in September with more networking tips, more ideas, and hopefully ways to help you network in a better, more effective and fun way. In the meantime, enjoy the summer and happy networking.